All right, folks, welcome back to the show. I've been looking forward to this interview for a long time. I'm joined by Martin Pistorius. He's a very, very inspirational individual, as you're going to find out. He was a healthy 12-year-old boy, inflicted with a mysterious paralysis that left him in a vegetative state, unable to communicate for years. And as he got worse, his parents were told by his doctors that Martin would have the mind of a 3-year-old and that there was virtually no hope. Thankfully, that prognosis was wrong, and Martin, with time, was able to once again communicate with the outside world with the aid of a computer. Born in South Africa, Martin's now married. He lives in England, where he works as a web designer, and he's also penned a great, great autobiography, which everyone has to read, Ghost Boy: The Miraculous Escape of a Misdiagnosed Boy Trapped Inside His Own Body. There it is on the screen. It's a New York Times bestseller. And Martin, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Let me ask you, take us back, if you could. You were a healthy 12-year-old boy. Suddenly you're inflicted with this mysterious paralysis. And, you know, at the time, you could feel yourself slipping away. Describe what you felt. Was it fear? Was it frustration? Was it anger? What was it all?
I can't remember it, so it is difficult for me to say. As I wasn't really aware, I perhaps wasn't aware enough to be frightened. But the truth is I simply don't know. Later on, when my awareness returned and I was conscious of what was going on around me, then yes, there were many times when I was scared.
Yeah, well, you know, you spent more than a decade in daycare centers, unable to move or speak, and write about, you know, feeling an inner rage at times. Was there a point that you were hoping, you know, that you would die, that this entrapment would end?
I went through a lot of emotions: fear, despair, frustration. But the worst was probably the loneliness and powerlessness. That feeling of utter powerlessness where you have absolutely no say or control over anything in your life. For me, that was the worst. There were many, many dark times, lots of pain and hurt. And not just for me, but for my family too. Going through what I did was really rough. And yes, there were so many times when not only did I want to die, I longed for death to release me, for it all to be over. I also often felt everyone would be better off if I were dead. In my book, I talk about the night I even tried to end my own life. It didn't work, obviously, which at the time just made things that much worse. But now I am thankful and very glad I am still alive.
Well, we all are, and as I said, inspiration doesn't even begin to do you justice. So as I understand it, 4 years into your illness, you regained consciousness, and you became aware of your surroundings, as you alluded to, but your loved ones didn't realize this. And you could hear and understand everything they were saying. I mean, I've heard about, I saw a movie once where a woman had a stroke, and she was in almost a similar capacity. She couldn't move, she couldn't speak, but she heard and knew what was going on. I mean, that's got to be worse than maybe not being able to hear and see. Maybe you're, I mean, I can't even imagine it.
Yes, it was something that happened gradually. So it wasn't like one moment I was asleep, and the next moment I was awake. It is quite difficult to describe, but I often say that it is sort of like looking at a grey, completely out of focus image, and then gradually the colors start to flow back, and the image becomes clearer and clearer, until it is crystal clear and in vibrant color. As my awareness returned, it took me a while to fully comprehend that I was trapped inside my body. Of course, as the reality dawned on me that not only was I trapped in my body, but that I was probably going to spend the rest of my life in this state was something I really struggled with.
You heard your mother, who I can only imagine must have been, you know, in severe pain. She felt she let you down. You heard your mother say that she hoped you would die. She tried to kill herself. What goes through your mind at that point?
I feel sad when I think back and remember all the feelings and upset that everyone was feeling. I am not angry or resentful or anything like that. In fact, I feel enormous compassion and love for my mom. It was just a really hard time for her.
If you can, describe the feeling that you had when people finally realized that there was a real person, thinking, loving human being, and what was the first thing that you wanted to say at that point?
I felt, I guess the best word would be relief, and also excitement, mixed in with a bit of trepidation. I remember leaving the assessment and feeling happy and just like, wow, it was really exciting.
And how did you come up with the Ghost Boy title for your autobiography?
The title of my book is Ghost Boy because for so many years I was like a ghost. I could hear and see everything. But it was like I wasn't there. I was invisible, a ghost.
And how did your lovely wife and you, how did you meet?
My sister, who lived in England at the time, was Skyping with my mom and thought it would be fun to introduce her family to her friends. I don't think I will ever forget that evening. Jonah and I got talking, and before we knew hours had flown by. We seemed to instantly have a connection, and I think we both knew there was something special between us.
That's a great story, a very great story. So at this point in your life, you feel fulfilled. I know personally you do, but professionally and otherwise, is there more you want to accomplish?
I am happy and content now, but I am always striving to achieve something. Probably the biggest goal at the moment is to be able to buy a house.
Well, I wish you nothing but, well, great success in that effort. I hope the proceeds from the book will help that. Is there a possibility that you would eventually regain your ability to walk at any time?
It's not really something I think about. To me at this point there are far more important things to focus on, like my career and just enjoying life. I am also extremely mobile in my chair, so it's not a problem.
You're married to a wonderful woman, a very beautiful woman, Joanna, and you're very successful in what you do. The fact that you're here is, to me, just amazing, and the way you communicate is fantastic. And you know, it just I think of life's problems that we all think we have, and then I see and hear what you went through. I mean, I have a 15-year-old son, and I can't imagine. And God bless you. Thank you for coming. And everybody, folks, the book is Ghost Boy. And there it is again on the screen, The Miraculous Escape of a Misdiagnosed Boy Trapped Inside His Own Body by Martin Pistorius. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right, folks, please get the book. It is you're not gonna put it down. I promise you that. We're coming back with much more on the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't go away.